A rod is a dead piece of wood until God breathes on it and sets up for a church fundraiser. In her hands, the clipboard feels like a dry staff. Years of repetitive service that feel devoid of life or recognition. She is one of many rods in the room, seemingly identical to the other volunteers, yet she carries a quiet, unwavering commitment to the work. The rod is a tool of confrontation and divine power. The fluorescent lights of the church office flicker over a stack of cease and desist orders. A legal technicality regarding zoning is threatening to shut down the community soup kitchen. The elders are pacing, their voices rising in a frantic chorus of who do we call and how much will this cost. Sarah stands at the periphery, her laptop open while they seek political favor. She applies her corporate strategy background to dissect the municipal code. She finds the loophole, a forgotten grandfather clause that the city's lawyers overlook. When she presents her findings, the room goes silent. Her competence doesn't just solve a problem, it devours the opposition's intimidation like Aaron's rod swallowing the magician's serpents. Her quiet preparation dismantles the giants of the city before they can take another step. Ministry happens in the tent of meeting, not just the public square. It's 10 p.m. on a Friday. The city outside is a roar of sirens and nightlife, but inside the sanctuary it is cavernous and still. Sarah is alone, kneeling on the floor with a basket of prayer cards. She isn't posting a late-night grind selfie or seeking a platform. She is meticulously organizing the prayer wall, pinning each request with a silent intercession. She understands a secret the others have forgotten. True authority isn't manufactured under spotlights, it is forged in the Holy of Holies. This private devotion is her forge. By the time she exits the heavy wooden doors, she carries a weight of peace that the world didn't give her and cannot take away. Divine distinction often happens when others are sleeping, while the up-and-coming leaders of the church are at a networking mixer. Sarah is in the back of a U-Haul. It's 2 a.m. and she is helping a single mother move her belongings into a third-floor walk-up to escape an unsafe situation. Her hands are dusty and her back aches by dawn. As the sun hits the stained glass of the chapel, the congregation gathers for morning service. They notice something different about Sarah as she slips into her pew. There is a new life radiating from her, a softness and a groundedness that wasn't there on Friday. They see the sprout of a new season, unaware that it grew in the dark of her sacrificial night. They see the sprout of a new season, unaware that it grew in the dark of her sacrificial night. The first sign of life is budding, potential coming to the surface. In a cramped Sunday school room, Sarah sits in a circle with 5 teenage girls who've spent their lives feeling like background characters. They speak of being invisible at school and unseen at home. Sarah leans in, her voice steady and warm. You don't need a title to be a leader, she tells them. You just need to be alive to God's voice. A bud doesn't strain to grow, it just yields to the sun. As she speaks, the girls stop fidgeting. They aren't just listening to a lecture, they are responding to the authority of her empathy. Her buds of leadership are no longer internal, they are visible in the way these girls now look to her as their North Star. The flowering of grace principle. Blossoming signifies wisdom and thriving in difficult conditions. A tense board meeting stretches into its third hour. The debate over the new budget has turned bitter, with voices raised and egos clashing. Finally, the lead elder turns to Sarah. You've been quiet, what do you see? Ewer doesn't lead with "I told you so," despite having predicted this crisis months ago. Instead, she offers a solution wrapped in such profound grace that it disarms the room. Her wisdom blossoms, it is beautiful, fragrant, and undeniable, like the tribes of Israel seeing Aaron's rod. The elders find their murmuring silence. They realize they aren't just looking at a strategist, they are looking at a woman in whom God has settled a matter. Ripe fruit represents divine favor and tangible results. The sidewalk outside the church is lined with people. The food pantry Sarah organized is now feeding 500 families a week, providing not just canned goods but fresh produce and job leads. These are the almonds, the tangible edible fruit of her endurance. The very people who once dismissed her as just a volunteer or a quiet helper now stand in the warehouse, stunned by the scale of the operation. Hard at the rod place before the testimony. principle, authentic leadership becomes a permanent witness to others. Seen during the annual Vision Sunday, the pastor calls Sarah to the stage. He doesn't just give her a plaque, he gives her a mandate. The church formally recognizes her as a director of outreach. She is no longer a name on a spreadsheet. She is a testimony placed before the congregation. Her journey from the shadows to the center of the camp serves as a permanent reminder to every young woman in the pews. God does not need a committee to validate whom he has already caused to bloom. Her life is now a sacred artifact of what happens when you remain faithful in the presence of the ark. Life emerging from what was considered dead or past its prime. Sarah sits on a park bench reflecting on her early 30s, a time when she felt her singleness was a dry, dead stick and her career was a desert. She had wept over the deadness of her situation, but looking at her life now, she sees the miracle of resurrection. Every dead end was actually a dormant beginning, like the dry wood of the rod that produced life without roots or soil. Her life has become a source of vitality precisely because she gave her nothing to God. She realizes her path wasn't a waiting room, it was a laboratory for resurrection power. The city as the sanctuary principle, the rod is a scepter of authority over the world. Sarah walks through the chaos of Times Square, the neon lights reflecting in her eyes. She doesn't feel small or overwhelmed by the city's roar. She realizes that her rod, the life she has lived, the service she has given, is a scepter of God's kingdom in the heart of New York. She moves with a regal quietude. She is a woman of immense authority, not because a board gave her a title or a man gave her his name, but because she stood in the presence of the Lord until she budded, blossomed, and bore fruit. The city is no longer a battlefield, it is her garden.